The history of Egypt is an example of how a civilization can rise from the sands, leave an eternal mark, and inspire future generations. As the philosopher Seneca once said, "Every beginning seems weak, but it is hard work, faith in the future, and a striving for greatness that help overcome difficulties." In this video, we will dive into the story of Egypt, from its first steps toward a great culture to its peak and influence, which can still be felt today. Part 1. The birth of civilization. Beginnings in the Nile Valley. The history of ancient Egypt began on the banks of the Nile, a river that gave life to the land. Long before pyramids and great pharaohs, people lived here who had learned to tame nature. Each year, the Nile's flooding transformed the desert into fertile soil, laying the foundation for the first settlements. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius taught us, "Everything that benefits the majority is beautiful." Guided by practicality, the Egyptians created irrigation systems to control the Nile's floods. These efforts united people and laid the groundwork for the first villages, which later evolved into cities. The earliest culture, known as the pre-dynastic period, existed around 5000 BCE. People practiced farming, hunting, and crafts. They developed a barter system, and their beliefs revolved around nature. The sun and the river became their first deities. By the 4th millennium BCE, small tribes began uniting. This was the first step toward creating a state. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Challenges create opportunities for greatness." During this time, early leaders emerged, uniting scattered groups into a single entity. Part 2. The formation of Egypt, the age of the first pharaohs. A unified state emerged around 3100 BCE, when the legendary pharaoh Nama united Upper and Lower Egypt. This moment marked the beginning of the great era of the Old Kingdom. Nama is considered the first pharaoh, and his reign paved the way for the establishment of the first dynasties. Pharaohs were not merely rulers, they served as a link between people and the gods. The system of governance was deeply intertwined with religion, granting pharaohs absolute power. As Seneca said, "The higher the position, the greater the responsibility." The Egyptian ruler was responsible for maintaining order, ensuring harvests, and protecting against enemies. It was during this time that the construction of the Great Pyramids began. The most famous of these, the pyramids at Giza, were built during the 4th dynasty, circa 2600 to 2500 BCE. These structures symbolized eternity and the Egyptians' belief in the afterlife. The culture thrived. The first writing systems, hieroglyphs, appeared, and art and architecture flourished. Egyptians believed that every individual had a role to play in the great harmony of the world. This idea aligns with Stoic philosophy, which teaches that each person should live in harmony with nature and the universe. Part 3. The Middle Kingdom, an era of reforms and change. After the fall of the Old Kingdom, a period of instability began. However, by 2050 BCE, Egypt entered the era of the Middle Kingdom. This was a time of reforms and restored order. Pharaohs like Mentuhotep II brought stability back to the land, reorganized the administration, and strengthened central authority. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Storms are not eternal. Peace always follows them." The Middle Kingdom became a period of cultural flourishing. New literary works emerged, describing not only the glory of the pharaohs, but also the everyday lives of ordinary people. Diplomacy flourished as Egypt actively interacted with neighboring states, fostering cultural exchange. During this time, Egyptians began to focus more deeply on life and the afterlife. The worship of Osiris, the god of rebirth, became central to their religion. This era serves as a reminder that even after decline, it is possible to rise again and reach new heights. Part 4. A New Dawn, the Age of the New Kingdom. The New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE, was the peak of Egypt's power and glory. Pharaohs like Thutmose III, Hatshepsut, and Ramses II expanded the nation's borders, transforming it into an empire. As Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "The path to greatness lies through action." Temple complexes in Luxor and Karnak, along with the grand tombs in the Valley of the Kings, became testaments to Egypt's power and artistic achievements. The New Kingdom was a time of both external conquests and internal consolidation. Egyptian culture reached its zenith. Advancements were made in science, medicine, and astronomy. Egyptians studied the stars, created precise calendars, and constructed buildings that still astound with their precision. But nothing lasts forever. Egypt gradually weakened due to internal conflicts and invasions. Nonetheless, the legacy of this period left an indelible mark on human history. Part 5. Lessons from an Ancient Civilization for the Modern World. The history of Egypt is not just a story of the past, but a source of inspiration for the present. The Egyptians taught us the importance of faith in ourselves, perseverance, and the pursuit of knowledge. They built eternal monuments because they believed that great deeds endure through the ages. Just as the Stoics teach us to live in harmony with nature and our fate, the Egyptians strove for harmony with the world around them. Their example shows that true greatness begins with discipline, hard work, and a belief in higher values. Conclusion. The history of Egypt reminds us that greatness begins with small steps. Just as the Nile brought life to the desert, we too can create something extraordinary, even from the humblest beginnings. May the wisdom of the Stoics and the example of the Egyptians inspire us to strive for the best, remember our purpose, and leave a mark on this world.